What if the fight for your life became the jet fuel for a world-class voice? Picture a 4-year-old clinging to a ventilator while surgeons race to beat the clock. And then imagine that same child, just a few years later, forcing Simon Cowell to leap to his feet. That kid is Angelica Hale, and her story rewrites every rule about survival, fame, and what it really means to win. Today you'll watch her escape a terminal prognosis, seize not one but 2 golden buzzers, and shatter Broadway's glass ceiling before her 18th birthday. Stay to the very end, because an off-the-books recording deal leaked last week could flip her next chapter upside down. Double pneumonia turned septic in the blink of an eye, shutting down Angelica's organs and trapping her in an induced coma for 80 agonizing days. Doctors called her odds microscopic. Yet when her kidneys refused to restart, her mother, Ava, volunteered a piece of herself, literally, donating the kidney that yanked Angelica off dialysis in September 2013, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Most 4-year-olds celebrate learning the alphabet. Angelica celebrated living long enough to learn it. That brush with death didn't leave her broken. It left her luminous, because inside those sterile walls, she found the one thing the infection couldn't touch: music. Hours of dialysis can feel like an eternity, so her dad pulled out his phone and captured a raspy little girl belting Whitney Houston to drown out the beeping machines. They posted the clips for friends, but strangers piled in, thousands, then tens of thousands, begging for more. The comment section became a makeshift support group, and Angelica realized every note she sang stitched hope into people she'd never met. When she finally staggered out of the hospital, she went straight into vocal lessons in Atlanta, honing a range that could slip from lullaby soft to arena loud without a wobble. Doctors called it therapy. YouTube called it talent. Fast forward to June 2017. A 9-year-old in a sunshine yellow dress floats onto the America's Got Talent stage and sings Andra Day's Rise Up like she's lived every lyric, and the judges crumble. The real earthquake arrived a month later when guest judge Chris Hardwick smashed that golden buzzer after her scorched earth cover of Girl on Fire. YouTube Wikipedia overnight, Angelica rocketed from viral curiosity to Vegas bookmakers' favorite to win the season. Her quarterfinal Clarity and semifinal Without You earned back-to-back standing ovations, but it was the finale duet with Kelly Clarkson that printed her ticket into AGT lore. She didn't take the trophy, Darcy Lynn edged her, but she did become the youngest runner-up in series history, a stat that mattered far more to headlines than to Angelica herself. 2 years later, AGT, the champions, called her back. 11 years old now, she walked on stage with the calm of a headliner, detonated Rachel Platten's fight song, and forced Howie Mandel into history. He punched the golden buzzer, making her the first act ever to earn confetti in both the flagship show and Champions Edition. YouTube. This time, the narrative wasn't prodigy, but peer, and critics realized she had crossed the invisible line from cute kid to full-tilt artist. But Angelica wasn't hungry for another trophy. She was hungry for a stage big enough to chase every note she heard in her head. Stadiums answered first. She roared, "America the Beautiful" at the 2015 US Open semifinals, belted anthems for the NFL, and lit up Heinz Field during a Steelers-Ravens rivalry game. Wikipedia. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade tossed her onto a confetti-drenched float to scream Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire to 20 million TVs. YouTube. Then Canada came calling. In spring 2019, the Filipino supergroup TNT Boys dragged her across North America on their Listen the World tour, where she blew out Hero and Greatest Love of All, with a power that made Canadian reviewers ask how that voice fits inside a teenager. YouTube. But belting other people's stories can feel like wearing someone else's shoes, and Angelica wanted her own pair. She locked herself in the studio, poured the scars of sepsis into verse, and dropped her debut single, Feel the Magic, in May 2019, a pulse-pounding pop anthem that screamed, "I'm still here." Spotify. The companion EP followed, then a pair of Christmas mini-albums that invaded holiday playlists like glitter in wrapping paper. She leaked her songwriting process on Instagram and TikTok, where fans watched her rip open real life and pour it into choruses, a Gen Z hallmark she shares with artists like Olivia Rodrigo. While the singles climbed streaming charts, Broadway came knocking with something wilder: Boop, the musical, a neon-soaked reboot of the 1930s cartoon icon Betty Boop. Producers needed a teenage powerhouse who could blast 8 shows a week yet sell innocence on cue. Angelica auditioned, panicked she couldn't dance, and still landed the brand new role of Trisha in the 2023 Chicago tryout. 2 years later, March 11, 2025, previews ignited at the Broadhurst Theater, and critics raved about an arena-sized voice in a 1,000-seat house. The show officially opened April 5th, earning multiple Tony nominations and positioning Angelica for a surprise Best Featured Actress race next summer. Culturistpeople.com. Through all the curtain calls, she never left the cause that began it all. In 2017, the National Kidney Foundation crowned her its first child ambassador. Congressional aides still share hushed stories about a pint-sized singer who stalked the halls of Capitol Hill, arguing for organ donor legislation. Sepsis Alliance Wikipedia. 2 years later, she fronted Sepsis Alliance's It's About Time campaign, teaching millions to spot symptoms before it's too late. Sepsis Alliance fundraising concerts, live-stream charities, hospital visits. Angelica treats advocacy the way athletes treat training: non-negotiable, daily, relentless. That relentless streak follows her online. Her YouTube channel just crossed 3.36 million subscribers, Instagram topped 2 million, and Facebook hovers near 3.9 million loyalists who spam heart emojis the second she goes live. Critics once dismissed social numbers as fluff, but when she launched a merch line last winter, hoodies stamped with a cartoon kidney wearing boxing gloves, the first drop sold out in 3 hours. Influencer analysts peg her net worth somewhere between $430K and $1 depending on royalty math. But the real gold lies in brand affinity. Youth empowerment startups are tripping over each other for a partnership that feels authentic enough to pass Angelica's kid sister test. Yet even digital royalty faces pitfalls. A TikTok copyright sweep in late 2024 temporarily muted her account, triggering the corn-free Angelica hashtag and a flood of duet videos protesting the suspension. The ban lifted within days, but not before proving her fandom will mobilize like a flash mob if they sense injustice, a weapon any record executive would kill to bottle. And that brings us to the secret everyone's whispering about. Multiple industry trackers spotted Angelica's reps in closed-door meetings with Melody Place, the boutique label that handled Boop's cast album. Papers haven't been signed, at least not publicly, but insiders leaked that a multi-album pop theater crossover deal is 90% baked and slated for a summer 2025 announcement. If true, it would catapult Angelica out of the talent show alum box and into the same lane Sarah Bareilles and Cynthia Erivo used to sprint from stage to Grammy stage. No confirmation yet, but Melody Place execs were conspicuously front row on opening night, and they didn't leave at intermission. So let's tally it up. She survived organ failure, hijacked primetime television twice, wrestled stadium spotlights, wrote her own anthem, and invaded Broadway before finishing high school. She's not just chasing dreams, she's paving a superhighway for every kid who ever hummed a song to fight the dark. If that rumored record contract sticks, the next chorus you hear could be the genesis of an entirely new pop theater hybrid, authored, produced, and belted by the girl who once used lullabies to drown out ICU alarms. Think back to the opening question: what if the fight for your life became the secret weapon for a global music career? Angelica Hale already answered. She turned ICU scars into octave-spanning fireworks. Drop a comment below with the Angelica moment that hit you hardest. Smash that like button if her journey fired you up, and don't forget to subscribe. The next big reveal could land any minute, and you won't want to miss the first note of her brand new era. Angelica Hale was never supposed to sing, let alone roar. At 2 years old, her lungs drowned in double pneumonia. Her blood turned toxic with sepsis, and every blinking monitor in that Atlanta ICU predicted the same grim ending. Yet here we are, in 2025, and that same child now commands Broadway spotlights and a fresh shot at America's Got Talent glory. How did a toddler fighting for breath transform into a record-breaking golden buzzer phenomenon? And why do industry insiders say, this year could redefine her destiny? Stick around, because Angelica's tale is equal parts miracle, hustle, and the kind of resilience that dares you to keep watching. The nightmare began on April 28, 2009. Angelica's fever spiked, her tiny kidneys shut down, and doctors warned her parents to prepare for the worst. For 80 agonizing days, she floated between surgeries and comas while ECMO machines pumped life into failing organs. When dialysis proved futile, her mother Eva made the ultimate call: donate a kidney or lose her daughter. On September 13, 2013, surgeons placed Eva's kidney inside her 5-year-old, and Angelica opened her eyes singing "Twinkle, Twinkle" to the recovery nurses. The scar across her abdomen wasn't just a reminder. It was the start of a superhero origin story. But survival came at a cost. Immunosuppressants left Angelica vulnerable to every stray germ at school, and classmates often saw a surgical mask before they ever heard her voice. Rather than retreat, she turned each hospital visit into a mini-concert, warbling Disney classics down antiseptic hallways. Nurses shot phone videos, parents passed them to relatives, and an accidental fan base sprouted right inside the pediatric wing. The darker the ward, the brighter she sang. By 7, Angelica could barely spell repertoire, yet she was already building one. Weekends meant local fairs, charity telethons, and any stage willing to hand her a microphone. She belted "Let It Go" in shopping mall food courts, then pivoted to soulful hymns at church fundraisers for sepsis awareness. Each set ended the same way: a grin, a bow, and parents scrambling to keep up with strangers who wanted to book her for the next community gala. Her first true contest came in 2014 at the Johns Creek Festival. Judges expected cute. Angelica delivered conviction, tearing through Alicia Keys' "If I Ain't Got You" like she'd lived every lyric. She walked away with the trophy and a realization: singing wasn't just therapy, it was destiny. Vocal coach Tara Simon spotted her on YouTube later that year and offered pro bono lessons. Sessions were tough, full of diaphragm drills and mic tech posture, but Angelica absorbed them like oxygen. By 9, she could modulate vibrato on command and knew how to milk a pregnant pause for maximum goosebumps. June 2017. Angelica stepped onto the AGT stage in a champagne dress and sneakers that squeaked from nerves. When Judge Mel B asked why, she was there, she answered without blinking. "I want to be the next Whitney Houston." The room chuckled until the first line of Andra Day's "Rise Up" cut through the air like a siren. Simon Cowell leaned forward. Heidi Klum mouthed, "Wow." Television history logged a new benchmark for 9-year-old prowess. The viral clip scored 10 million views overnight. Return appearances amplified the buzz. "Girl on Fire" earned Chris Hardwick's golden buzzer, and "Symphony" by Clean Bandit turned Twitter into a meltdown of crying face emojis. Angelica raced to the finals, ultimately finishing runner-up to ventriloquist Darcy Lynn. Losing didn't matter. Exposure did. Her Instagram ballooned past 500,000 followers, her fledgling YouTube channel sprang to 300K subs, and talk show couches fought for her booking. She'd tapped the national vein, and the nation wanted more. Transition. Fame, however, can flatten young stars. Angelica dodged the crash by redirecting the spotlight toward a mission bigger than herself. Hospitals had been her battleground. Now they became her platform. In 2018, Angelica accepted the Children's Miracle Network's Champion Ambassador title, touring NICUs and headlining fundraising galas. The Sepsis Alliance recruited her as the face of its "It's About Time" campaign, plastering her image on billboards from Atlanta to Anchorage YouTube. Corporate sponsors saw synergy, a recovering patient singing to save other patients, storytelling gold. Ticket sales spiked for every event she touched, raising millions for pediatric ICUs. Her anthem gigs multiplied. The Atlanta Falcons, the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving game, even the Macy's parade where cold November winds threatened her high notes but never conquered them. Each appearance reinforced the narrative of a survivor paying hope forward. NBC's spin-off, AGT, The Champions gathers the franchise's elite for a television coliseum. Angelica returned at age 11, older, steadier, and armed with Rachel Platen's fight song. Howie Mandel slammed the golden buzzer mid-chorus, showering confetti while a global webcast relived her medical odyssey in a highlight reel. Though she placed just outside the top 10, the gig resurrected network hype, and the digital aftershocks were louder. YouTube awarded her the Gold Creator plaque as subscribers crossed 1 million. A stripped-down piano cover of Mariah Carey's Hero exploded to 22 million views YouTube. Algorithms served her to every playlist labeled Voices You Won't Believe. And brands lined up. Delta featured her in an in-flight safety spoof. Lego tapped her for a charity build-a-thon. Livestream. She was no longer a child prodigy. She was an internet institution. Early 2023, Angelica's TikTok feed boasted viral mashups, power belting while cooking adobo with her Filipina mom, or duetting Broadway stars from her bedroom. 2.4 million followers gone overnight. The app flagged her as underage, despite her being 15, well above the 13-plus policy line. Angelica posted a calm but fiery vlog on YouTube, unpacking the error and urging fans not to harass moderators. Her grace paid off. Within 48, do yours the hashtag #YouBringBackAngelica amassed 80K mentions. TikTok never reinstated the account, yet her newly opened profile rocketed past 100K by month's end, proof that loyal communities migrate YouTube. The hiccup revealed a silver lining. It regalvanized dormant subscribers across her other socials. Instagram Reels featuring studio snippets of an original song, working title Phoenix Heart, crossed 500K likes. Spotify pre-save links multiplied. The setback had morphed into momentum. September 13th, 2023, marked 10 years since Eva Hale's kidney saved her daughter. Angelica commemorated the day with a stripped acoustic rendition of Make You Feel My Love, filmed in the hospital chapel where she once prayed for sunrise. The video's comment section became a digital vigil of transplant stories, and the hashtag #ShockKidneyStrong trended regionally. Instagram media outlets amplified the milestone. Good Morning America invited Angelica and her mom for a duet. Children's hospitals requested keynote performances. Meanwhile, whispers surfaced that Atlantic Records was courting her for a debut LP stocked with originals, because covers, however viral, were only half her truth. Few saw it coming. Casting directors for Boop musical, the Betty Boop-inspired show that Out of Town previewed in Chicago, wanted a teenage vocal titan for the role of Trisha, Betty's flame-voiced protege. Angelica nailed the callback, and in March 2025, she made her Broadway debut. At the Broadhurst Theater New York Theater Guide Instagram login, or sign up to view. Press day photos splashed across Playbill. An Instagram carousel of backstage snapshots amassed 150K likes in hours Instagram. Critics fawned. New York Theater Guide praised her wind turbine lungs wrapped in velvet. Nightly ovations proved them right. Balancing 8 shows a week with studio sessions would break most teens. But Angelica thrives on stacked calendars. A mobile vocal booth in her dressing room lets her record takes between scenes, and producers teased that Phoenix Heart now features a 30-piece string arrangement tracked at Abbey Road. Fans smell an album drop tied to Tony Nom season. NBC's New Fantasy League twist resurrects 60 alumni and hands selection power to viewers. Angelica appears on the ballot beside icons like Cody Lee and Lindsey Sterling. NBC. Voting happens inside the AGT app, and producers confirm only 40 acts advance. Reddit threads buzz with prediction brackets. TikTok stands duel via fan cams. Angelica's Broadway exposure becomes a secret weapon. Tourists watch her live, then vote from the lobby. Should she land a spot, it sets up a narrative arc too irresistible for producers to ignore. A transplant survivor leaves Times Square, stage doors, sprints to the Dolby Theater, and chases the trophy she missed at 9. Television gold. Angelica remains diplomatically silent, tweeting only a winking emoji beneath the nominees list, fueling, not quelling speculation. Several entertainment blogs, not yet verified by major trades, claim an unnamed streaming giant is piecing together a docuseries on next-gen vocal prodigies, and Angelica is their pilot episode. Crews have reportedly shadowed her rehearsals, dialysis checkups, and charity hospital visits. Neither Angelica's camp nor Netflix comment on the chatter, but the possibility alone has fans dissecting every behind-the-scenes selfie for hidden boom mics. Whether the rumor holds or not, Angelica's international pull is undisputed. Philippine. Networks air-dubbed recaps of her Broadway reviews. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp invited her to headline the 2025 State Fair's opening ceremony, and UNICEF tapped her for World Children's Day, aligning perfectly with her advocacy DNA. No matter the medium, TikTok snippets, Times Square billboards, or televised talent wars, her story bridges continents. Angelica Hale's life began in ICU shadows and now blazes under Broadway chandeliers. She is proof that a second chance isn't a consolation prize, it's rocket fuel. But every hero's arc needs witnesses, and that's where you come in. Will you cast your AGT Fantasy League vote to send her back into the arena? Will you stream Phoenix Heart the moment it drops? Or will you snag tickets to watch her shake the rafters 8 times a week on 44th Street? Whatever path you choose, remember this. Each note she sings is powered by a borrowed kidney, a mother's gamble, and a decade-long promise to repay grace with greatness. In a world addicted to overnight fame, Angelica Hale offers something rarer, longevity forged in adversity. So turn the page with her, follow her socials, tag a friend who needs her brand of hope, and let's see just how high that phoenix can soar. Stay inspired, stay strong, and keep listening. The next standing ovation might be yours to start.